This is a view of my new studio, at least studio to be. What I have to work with in a new piece of property we're moving into is an old storage shed, which I'm hoping to be able to fix and build out in order to be able to have a decent YouTube studio. And I thought it might be interesting in subsequent videos to show you how we do it. The building needs a couple of repairs. That's just basically structural stuff, and then I'll start building a set inside. Anyway, we'll in a moment talk about Star Trek Day and the latest episode of Lower Decks. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and outside for a change today in front of my new YouTube studio to be. To fill you in on what's going on around here, we are moving into this big new house. It's probably twice the size of the one that we were in. The yard is tremendously large, and we are making kind of a slow move into it. So we're going to be kind of hopping back and forth between here and our previous house as we're fixing it up and getting it ready for sale. At any rate, we have some things to talk about for Star Trek Day, and we'll start out with some of the dates that we have for beginning the shows. We have Prodigy that is going to begin on October 28th. This is the children's themed program that is going to be airing eventually on Nickelodeon, but is premiering on Paramount Plus. We've already been introduced to the characters, and the main one to think about is Captain Janeway, who will be appearing as a hologram as kind of an instructional program for these teenage aliens to be able to not only operate this abandoned starship, which is called the Protostar, but also the tenets and philosophy of the Federation and of Starfleet. So it should be an interesting show, even if it's not put directly for adults. I think it'll be a nice family viewing anyway, especially if you have children. Then in November we will have Discovery, which will be the first live action program, which is going to bring us a little bit farther into the future than we were in the last season, because there are newly designed uniforms, and already we have Burnham that is kind of settled in as the captain. We're going to see all the regular faces back, and we're also told that our newest characters, one who is only seen ghostly, is going to find some way to become corporeal, and that will be an interesting addition to the cast. Then Picard will be coming out in February with Season 2, and we have some things to talk about on that in just a moment. At any rate, Strange New Worlds will follow that, and they've just finished live shooting and will be going into post-production, which will take them some time, but we expect that to be following Picard in probably late March. At any rate, we have learned some new characters on Strange New Worlds. They've let us know, first of all, of course, that Pike, Spock, and Number One are all going to be back, and they have actually given Number One a name. They mentioned Una in one episode in the last season of Discovery, so they've given her a full name, Una Chin Riley. So that's her name, probably still will be referred to mostly as Number One. Then we'll bring back some people from the original series, of course, recast. Cadet Uhura, an early version of Uhura, who will be in communications and will be a prominent member of the Enterprise crew under Pike, and Nurse Christine Chapel, also recast and played for to show that there is some continuity of some of the crew that go between Pike's time and Kirk's time. And then also Dr. Mbenga. He was mentioned on, actually shown on a couple of episodes of the original series. One is where he takes a prominent role slapping Spock around, and that is where we saw M'Benga before, and he, of course, is recast and is part of the Enterprise crew. Then some new characters. La'an Noonien Singh. We expect that she is a descendant of Khan Noonien Singh, but that might add some tension into the episodes. Also, Erica Ortega, who's probably going to be probably a security chief from the looks of things, and a new character, Hemmer, who is an Andorian, so you can have an alien member of the crew. They have redesigned the uniforms from the last we saw them in Discovery. They're a little more t-shirt-like than they were in Discovery, so that's a little bit different. And according to the producers, they are redesigning the sets a little bit because they were pretty much temporary sets that were used for Discovery, and they will make them into permanent sets, a little more Enterprise-like for Strange New Worlds. Then in Season 2 of Picard, we have seen the teaser trailer. We knew that the Borg and Q figured into this, and there was some time travel there, but this adds some context to some of the things that we saw, like, for instance, the deck of cards in which there were queens in each suit, and we were thinking that's Q, but it was also for the Borg Queen. The Borg Queen is going to be recast and put into this series, and the way it works, according to the teaser, is that Q goes back in time and changes history, and the present changes where Picard is now the dictator of a totalitarian state, and he and his usuals, Jurati and Raffi and Rios and Seven of Nine, are all going to have to band together to try to bring history back to where it should be. And it makes them have to go back to the 21st century, basically our present time. And in order to be able to do that kind of time travel, Picard says we have to find somebody that's an expert in time travel, and they do a smash cut to the Borg Queen. So that's where that works out. And no doubt there's no deal that you're making with the Borg Queen that something isn't going to have to be given back. So this is part of what's going on with Picard, and we're very excited about what's going to happen with that. Meanwhile, in Lower Decks, we're introduced to a new race called the Duplers, and what happens to them is any time that they get embarrassed or defensive, they duplicate. And you can see that it becomes kind of a Tribbles problem, that they multiply very quickly and take up all the space. So that's kind of what this is about. And the way they resolve it is very interesting. They don't use as many Easter eggs in this particular episode as they've done in the past, but there are a few. We bring back some people that we've heard about and not heard about in a long time. For instance, Commander Shelby, who was last seen in the Best of Both Worlds in The Next Generation, is now a captain, and Okona, who was a visitor to the Enterprise, kind of a friendly huckster type of character, is also shown in a party situation that the Lower Decks people witness. And what they find in a bar is kind of interesting and brings the crew together. That's kind of nicely done there. The B story is Rutherford has kind of an identity crisis after having been rescued but losing much of his memory. He's realizing that there's a lot of him that he does not know about, and it bothers him. And how they resolve that is a pretty good thing as well. That's Lower Decks this week. So that, in a nutshell, is what we have going on from Star Trek Day that we found out. There are other details which we'll share with you later on, but for now, the most interesting thing, I believe, is the fact that we know new characters in Strange New Worlds, and we kind of know what the plot is going to be for Picard. The only thing we don't know about Picard is that if this is going to all be settled in one season, because they've renewed the show for yet a third season, and John Delancey, who plays Q, claims that he is going to be in the third season as well. So it's possible that they don't resolve the problems that start in season 2 until sometime in season 3. So that's to look forward to and to speculate about. And your speculation I'd be interested in seeing in the comments. Please leave some comments below, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so, because I'm going to need more subscribers, so I'm going to be able to afford to redo this shed out here. You'd think a house that big I'd have room for a studio inside, but I kind of look forward to having this little dedicated space. So we look forward to visiting with you in various other places around here. So until next time, don't go far.